or in Indian markets. You're seeing the Nifty 50, which is up just about 0.1%, so marginally higher. But it seems like we've steadied a bit since the morning. That little bit of up and down movement has now steadied. And we're very close to the day's high, just off the day's high, if at all. Let's pull up what stocks are contributing to the Nifty's gains, at least today. Marginal gains, but nonetheless, you're seeing good traction in both ICICI Bank as well as the auto sector. You're seeing Tata Motors do fairly well, Bajaj Auto also contributing. Reliance, of course, the heavyweight, if it were to pull some more weight, will obviously contribute better to the Nifty 50. You're seeing Infi, TCS, some IT stocks among the laggards. Let's pull up the sectoral heat map, try and zoom into which sectors are doing well, at least in trade as we speak. We're seeing 1.4% higher on the Nifty Auto, the top sectoral gainer for the day by quite a bit, clearly. And in terms of the losers, let's pull those up. There are quite a few. There's the Nifty FMCG, which is down around 1/5% thereabouts. The Nifty IT is down 0.7%. And you're seeing pressure on the Nifty Realty, down nearly 1% plus in trade. So you're seeing some amount of pressure among these indices. In terms of where we are, where the broader markets are concerned, let's pull up the advanced decline first off to give us an indication of where we are with regard to the breadth of the market. Well, currently holding even Steven, nearly even Steven, slight bit in favor of the positive. So the breadth of the market at the moment positive, but the Nifty mid cap and the small cap trading in the red. You're seeing the Nifty mid cap underperform today and down around 0.1% thereabouts, just a marginal underperformance, but nonetheless an underperformance. The Nifty small cap, though, has slipped back into the green. So that's a positive, up around 0.1% or thereabouts. The Nifty small cap has been the more resilient of the two indices. That's where we are at. But let me go across and talk about some stocks. Some of them are in focus, quite a few in focus, but today's stock in focus for us on Ask Profit is Zomato. The stock is on a tear. It's up nearly 5% in trade, or was up nearly 5% in trade at the top today. Currently sitting pretty with gains of nearly 4%. Mahima, we have a few brokerages which have come out with notes constructive on that acquisition made from Paytm, but 4% move, quite strong on Zomato.
Absolutely, Hersh. So, a slew of brokerages are positive when it comes to the Zomato Paytm deal. To start with MS, they're saying that transaction is a net positive for Zomato and helps its scaling of going out segment and profitable and asset-light business acquired. And what they're saying is that scope for large valuation creation versus current value assigned. Plus, they believe that it's prudent capital allocation for Zomato at present, and believes that there could be an upside risk if execution remains strong. So everything comes down to execution. Of course, Citi on Zomato is also extremely bullish. They've given a target price of 300 versus their target price previously at 280. What they're saying is that acquisition of Paytm ticketing business, it's moderately positive, and Zomato to benefit from the 1 crore user that Paytm Insider and Paytm ticketing business already has. Plus, they're also saying that it'll focus on gaining segment market share, and Zomato has a strong track record already, which will help scale up this business. In terms of yesterday's note, one of the notes that really stood out was Jefferies on Zomato, where they have given a target price of 335 and they've raised this target price from 275 a piece. And what they're saying is that valuation looks compelling in context of growth and margins, and low capital intensity promises high return ratio at a steady rate. And lastly, they've said that it incorporates the acquisition in the kind of valuations that they've given, and going out at 2.5 times the gross order value, which is in line with current valuations of Blinkit. So these are some of the brokerages that are constructive on Zomato.
Okay, thanks for that, Mahima. So brokerages remain constructive on Zomato over here. But let me take this across to our guest for today. Gaurang Shah, Head Investment Strategist of Jio Financial Services, join in along with Rajat Bose, SEBI-registered research analyst over here. Hello and welcome to Ask Profit. Gaurang, I want to take this across to you. What is your view on Zomato? Brokerages remain constructive. What is your view on the stock?
Well, thank you, and morning to all of you all. So, prudent to give a disclosure first. We have been covering Zomato on the fundamental side for right from the time the IPO was there at 76, if I'm not mistaken. And we continue to maintain a standalone fundamental buy call on Zomato. Our belief was that the food delivery platform that is Zomato will continue to contribute. And along with that, I think one of the concerns that Street had when they took over Blinkit business is that the valuation paid for Blinkit was a little bit on the higher side, whether or not it will contribute. And now, as of the latest numbers, Blinkit has been one of the greatest contributors to the balance sheet. So I think this entertainment event ticketing business that Zomato is planning to take from Paytm at 2,048 crores, if I'm not mistaken, will also augur well. Huge client base on the both sides, and I think the way synergies will evolve once the deal is signed, sealed and dusted. Possibly the contribution in line with what Blinkit has done should not be surprising to the street. We continue to be positive on the stock.
Okay, Rajat, your quick take with regard to Zomato in terms of technical.
First of all, my disclosure that I'm an investor in Zomato for quite some time. What I would like to say is that basically I quite agree with Gaurang that it actually has much greater potential, but immediately from a technical point of view, you need to take out 280. And once that is taken out, 320 to about 324 would be your next target. But I tend to think that this merger of two databases will actually create lots of opportunities, and they can leverage that, and Zomato ultimately will gain one hell of a lot. But take my view with a pinch of salt because I'm an investor in that.
Got it. Let's quickly move over to viewer queries. We have Mohan Rao from Hyderabad with the first query for the day. Gaurang wanting views with regard to Electrosteel Castings. No real numbers given by Mohan with regard to what he holds. Do give us some of those details. This is of course for viewer reference. Do give us some more details, viewers, so that it helps our guests answer your queries better. But Gaurang, with the limited outlook that we have, your view with regard to Electrosteel Castings?
Well, so honestly, I think it would be prudent to go in for Zomato in case if he's not bought the stock, to be very honest. And likewise, I think there are names like Ashok Leyland, L&T Finance and Holding, Federal Bank, for example. Electrosteel and Casting, I think, first of all, the numbers were not so very exciting. And because we do not have a coverage, I think giving buy, sell and hold wouldn't be prudent on my part. But I think it would be, in case if the caller or the investor has not really invested in the stock, then there are better alternatives like I mentioned.
All right, so that was the view on Electrocast. Now I'll move on to the next query, and this is in the railway space. Avnesh from Andhra Pradesh holds about 30 shares of RVNL, and this is at a price of about 516. So he's currently sitting at about a 1,860 of a profit. I want to come to you on this, Gaurang. What is your view on this? Should he hold or have a sell rating on this one?
Well, I think first of all, this is a view on the sector. I think it will be prudent to give that. So all those companies which are associated with Indian Railways, whether they are going to be government owned or whether they are privately owned, the order book for all these companies is extremely strong. Even if you listen into the commentary that was given by the most of the management of these companies, the order book stands very, very strong and tall. Point number two, the modernization of Indian Railways is a growth story for another 3 to 5 years or maybe more, whether it is to do with modernization of railway stations, railway tracks, high-speed trains, last mile connectivity, dedicated freight corridors, etc., etc. So, these are just the names that I'm giving, which are strong companies. So you have IRFC, RVNL, IRCON, IRCTC, you have names like Jupiter Wagons, you have names like Titagar Wagons. All these companies are possibly looking at an exponential growth for the next 3 to 5 years, given the kind of order book they already have, order execution, and the new order book that will come in.
Right, Gaurang. So, just in terms of order book, of course, there's no concern. But any concern you see from a valuation perspective, if you can add that piece as well?
Well, so I think these stocks have rallied. Now, let me give you another example. Along with the railway-related stocks, I think defense stock also rallied. And in the last year and a half or two, most of these stocks have rallied 50%, 100%, 150%, or maybe more. So when you see that kind of a rally, you are bound to see some kind of profit booking. You are bound to see some kind of time correction and price correction. There is absolutely no surprise to that. But notwithstanding the immediate short to medium term, if you have a long-term time horizon, then you should be least bothered about these short-term corrections.
Okay, so you would continue to hold these because we have another viewer coming in, Jatin from Rohtak, Haryana. He's bought IRFC shares at 185 rupees a piece. He has 970 shares, wants to understand what he should do. Plenty of railway counters, which we have at least on our list today. So we'll try to cover some of those. Gaurang, you continue to hold the view that he should continue to hold these stocks from medium to long-term perspective?
Yeah, so on IRFC, we had given a subscribe recommendation for the IPO, which was pretty long back at a reasonably lower price. So if you are invested in IRFC from a long-term point of view, you should continue to hold on.
And Rajat, if I can come to you with regard to a view on some of these railway counters as well as IRFC in particular.
Regarding IRFC, I would say that although when you look at it on a 1 year perspective, this is maintaining an uptrend, but then this has also moved up quite a bit. So I would suggest that if it were to fall below its 200 exponential moving average, which is currently at 147, if it stays there, then at least book part profits. Although if I were to hold between RVNL and IRFC is still better. RVNL might see some strong profit booking.
Okay, IRFC preferred over RVNL over here. But now we'll move on to the next query, which is from Sulochana from Visakhapatnam. She's currently holding about 1,500 shares of Jio Financial, and this is at a price of about 365. Wants to understand the long-term view on this. Gaurang, I'll come to you on this. What's your view on Jio Financial? She's currently at a loss of about 51,000.
So from the time the special session was conducted by the exchanges to derive at the valuation, and the price at which it got listed, and of course the movement on the upside, we continue to maintain a positive view on Jio Financial Services. Our target stands at, I think, 410 or 420, if I'm not mistaken. This is from a long-term point of view on the fundamental side. And I think as the different businesses that they are planning, that they have already planned that they want to be in, and as those businesses start rolling out at ground level, I think you will see some kind of major turnaround in terms of earnings. So from a long-term point of view, I would give it a hold. And in case if somebody wants to buy it also, I think it would be prudent to buy at current levels. Don't go in 100%, start at current levels, and on dips you can continue to add.
All right, add on dips is the advice coming through. RCF, this one was on a tear. In fact, yesterday, pretty much all fertilizer stocks. Rajat, if I can come to you with regard to this one in particular, we have a viewer, Vijayendra, who holds 700 shares of RCF at 213 rupees a share. His target is 245. Do you believe that he should continue to hold for that target? And what's the stop loss he should keep? Your views?
Well, I would say put a stop loss below 185. And whether it will go to 245, that is slightly difficult at the moment because there is some selling pressure, and technically, unless it crosses, say, 200 level decisively and move above, say, 210, you cannot be so certain. And then between 220 and 240, I expect a lot of supply coming in. Otherwise, one can continue with a stop below 185.
Okay, now the next query is from Kalyan Jewellers. This is from Bangalore, and Venkata Vani wants to understand the long-term view on this one. She holds about 600 shares, and this is at a price of about 280. So she's currently sitting at a 1.82 lakh of a profit. Gaurang, I want to understand from you, what is the long-term view on this for the next 12 to 18 months? And can you share more on this? Do you have the stock under coverage?
Well, so we do like this segment, gems and jewelry, discretionary spend, that is. And I think the entire segment was a little bit on the lower side post the announcement in the budget by the Honorable Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharamanji of the duty cuts. We saw the gold prices correct in rupee terms to about 68,000, as maybe a little bit lower than that. But then after that, the gold prices have rallied to almost about 72,000 or thereabouts. So the segment is good. We are entering the festive and weddings season pretty soon. Demand for gold is definitely going to be there. We like the flagship company in this sector, that is Titan. Not only they are into gems and jewelry, but they have got wristwatches, eye care, accessories. Carrot Lane they have taken over some time back, which is auguring extremely well in terms of contributing to the balance sheet. So, of course, this company is also good in terms of business opportunity and the balance sheet. Unfortunately, since we don't have a coverage, wouldn't be able to give a specific disclosure. But Titan would be something that we are extremely positive about in this sector.
Okay, Gaurang positive on jewelry plus Titan. But let's quickly switch focus. Rajat, we have Chandra who holds HDFC Life shares at 701 apiece. Wants to know whether he should hold or sell.
I think HDFC Life one should continue because on the technical charts, there is a flag formation, and after that, there is this breakout in this week. So put a stop below, say 690 and carry on with the position. Chances are one will see 760 to about 780 over the short to medium term. I mean, next 1 to 3 months, you can see it performing pretty well. And over a period of 1 month, maybe 760 to 780 would well be there.
Okay, we'll continue to take queries. Of course, number flashing at the bottom of your screen, but we're going to quickly slip into a very short break. On the other side, keep sending in your queries. We'll keep taking them. Our guests will wait back to answer all of those queries. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to Ask Profit. Now moving on to our next query is from Marut from Delhi. He wants to understand the view on PVR. He's bought it at a price of about 1,450 and wants to understand whether he should add more at this current levels. Rajat, I want to take it across to you. What is your view on PVR? How is it looking on the charts?
PVR, right?
PVR, yeah.
Yeah, it is now trying to take out the 200-day exponential moving average, which is around the current price level, the moving average is at 1518. I'm talking about this 200-day EMA. If it were to cross, say, 1518 decisively, in that case, you can expect some more upside from here. And it can move up to something like, say, 1558 to about 1570. Once that is taken out, then 1600 will also be crossed. But we need to see whether it manages to stay above the 200-day exponential moving average or not. Otherwise, there could be a retracement at least towards, say, the 1400 levels.
Okay, that's the view on PVR. Gaurang, let me come to you. We've got a viewer, Shabir Surti, who's holding 100 shares of HOEC at 110 rupees a share. This one's been a multi-bagger for him, clearly. What should he do? For viewer context, we had HOEC on our SMID show earlier today. Gaurang, if at all you track this one.
So I think the sector is quite exciting given the kind of opportunity that lies and the government focus to make India more, self-reliant or reduce the kind of dependency on imports that we have. The sector is likely to do well. Unfortunately, since we don't have a specific coverage, I won't be able to comment on buy, sell and hold.
Okay, let me go across to Rajat. Rajat, your views, if any, on charts with regard to HOEC?
Well, charts are somewhat reflecting what I think the chief executive was talking to your channel a little earlier, and he was moderately optimistic. So probably the highs of 280 to about 295, that would be taken out going forward. Today, there is a recovery. Yesterday, there was a big profit taking. But once it crosses 280 decisively, you can expect 320 to about 329 on the upside.
Okay, so that's the view on HOEC. Now, let's move on to the metal space again. Jayesh from Mumbai wants to understand a technical view on Hindustan Copper. He's bought it at a price of about 324, currently at about 15,000 of a loss here. Rajat, I want to take it across to you. What's your understanding on this? How is it looking on charts?
I'll tell you one thing regarding Hindustan Copper. It has spent a lot of time around, say, 120 to about 160 for several years. And after that, this upswing happened where it touched 400 levels. And now this is only a correction. And in this correction, it has come close to about 50-week moving average. After that, it has bounced back again. Now, my suggestion is that put a stop below 250 and continue for the long term, because Hindustan Copper, in my view, will do very well going forward over the longer term. In our world, I would say that between 2011 and current date, there has not been much of investments that has gone into this thing. I mean, the metals, base metals or whatever. And Jeremy Grantham is pretty bullish on this. So if you are a long-term investor, you are definitely going to make money in stocks like Hindustan Copper.
All right, so bullish on Hindustan Copper, both from medium to long-term perspective as well as short-term. Let's switch focus to the power sector. Suzlon, we have Vinay from Bengaluru, holds 700 shares of Suzlon at 70 rupees a piece. Continue to hold for the 2 to 3 year period, the longer term. Gaurang, any views you would have on the power sector in general or Suzlon? If at all you want him to switch between Suzlon and another company, maybe an Inox Wind, would that be your recommendation?
I think he's good enough with Suzlon. And honestly, I think as a brokerage house, we have been positive on the entire power generation, power transmission, distribution and power equipments. And on Suzlon specifically, recently we initiated a coverage. Given the kind of turnaround that the company is witnessing, along with that, I think there is a tremendous amount of opportunity in renewable energy sector, be it wind power or solar power. So long term, continue to hold on Suzlon.
Okay, and I'll switch focus to life insurers. I'll stick with Gaurang. We have Arun, who's holding 100 shares of LIC at an average price of 780 rupees a piece. Your view with regard to this one?
Well, firstly, I think investment is at a pretty comfortable zone, 780. Secondly, I think after a long period of underperformance or sideways performance, most of the life insurance related companies have started to perform well, especially after the first quarter number FY25. We've seen that all these life insurance companies have reported good good run rate in terms of new insurance premium. Along with that, I think people have started to take larger sum assured. By virtue of that, insurance companies get a higher premium. And people's approach, I think the wisdom has changed. People look at insurance now as a product which can possibly safeguard the future of your dependents if something has to happen to you, God forbid, especially post-COVID. So we remain positive on LIC, HDFC Life, SBI Life, and ICICI Prudential Life.
Okay, constructive on life insurance, but completely out of time on this one, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us, taking out time, giving our viewers all of that perspective. With that, completely out of time on this edition of Ask Profit from Anushi, myself, everyone who puts the show together. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. Apologies if we've not been able to take your queries. We'll take them on Monday. Do stay tuned to NDTV Profit. More action on the other side.